No, you don't go to hell for being homosexual.
But committing homosexual acts will get you to go to hell?
No, wait a minute, wait.
Right. No, because, some people will say, well, it's not the homosexuality or being gay, it's doing gay stuff.
No,
that's the problem.
No, first of all, heterosexuality does not get you to heaven. I happen to know this. Right. So how in the world could homosexuality send you to hell? And actually, the Bible, listen, this is true. Jesus talks about greed 10 times more than he talks about adultery, for example.
Homosexuality does not send you to hell. You know how I know that? Because heterosexuality does not send you to heaven.
None of us are kind of fast-track disciples. None of us kind of have just aced this. God is having to be very patient with every single one of us. So I would want the transgender person to be earnestly, genuinely, with a sincere heart, living as disciples as Jesus Christ. And I'm not expecting them to have all of this resolved and clear in their head and sorted out by tomorrow, because it's going to take time.
Yeah, I think we can be so fearful of, how do I talk to those people? And yeah, we have different struggles, but that puts the other, moniker on somebody, when if we think fundamentally, we have the same sort of penchants for idolatry, we have the same sort of heart issues, that there's more we have in common. I think that's a good first step. And I realized in, writing a book on homosexuality and then speaking on it in various places and through blogging and honestly through some mistakes I've probably made, that I have to realize on these issues in particular, anybody and everybody can be listening or watching at any moment. So this thing right now. So it doesn't mean that we're not bold and prophetic at some moments. It just means if that's the only speed you have, that's the only way you go, you just have to be aware of how you're being heard. Yeah. And it means, even though it might be bothersome to us at times, we do have to do a lot of, I'm not saying this, I'm saying that, and those of you who may have been hurt this way, you just have to understand that there's not just our safe audience that we're speaking to. Everyone's listening in, and not with sympathetic ears.
And the only hope for our brokenness in our own bodies is the ultimate brokenness of his body. He knew what it was like for his body to cause him enormous pain. He knew what it was like, if I can put it this way, to have body image issues, because we're told in Isaiah 53 that people turned their faces away from him. People couldn't bear to look at him. His body image issues weren't in his head, they were real. The kind of people who are normally, do you call them rubberneckers here? When there's an accident on the interstate, who will slow down to have a really good look. There was something about Jesus on the cross that was so appalling, people would actually look the other way. It was more than they could cope with. And there was no greater dysphoria than when he who knew no sin became sin for us. That is the ultimate experience of being in the wrong flesh.
And if that is your position, you have to recognize that when you are interacting with a transgender person, your inability to use their preferred name or pronoun could actually be received as very offensive by them or deeply hurtful by them.
There is a scripture found in 1 Peter chapter 2 that says, "Unto you therefore which believe, he, being Christ, is precious. But unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the headstone of the corner. And the stone of stumbling and a rock of offense, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient whereunto also they were appointed. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." We are peculiar. peculiar, I tell you, because we believe in the Word. And what others would have against us, what others would show as a stumbling stone, we've elevated to be the head of the corner. And right now, no matter what the presence and people of mind may think, that LGBTQ area is the head cornerstone. And we are here to lift up and magnify and allow them to know that regardless of people's opinion, regardless of where we are, love triumphs over evil.
And my other issue with it is the one I raised earlier, that it can unwittingly imply that heterosexual feelings and marriage are the goal of the Christian life, that you can't be sanctified unless you are heterosexualized, en route, I don't even know that's a word.
We ought to whisper about what the Bible whispers about, and we ought to shout about what it shouts about. And the Bible appears more to whisper when it comes to sexual sin compared to its shouts about materialism and religious pride.
In the Bible, sexual sin is whispered compared to the shout God makes about greed and judgmentalism.
But then secondly, to be able to understand and empathize with transgender persons and to see them as all of us are, fallen and broken, but not to see them as freaks. And then also to equip our people to be able to patiently disciple and work with those who feel alienated from their genders. We need men to patiently work with men who are experiencing that kind of dysphoria, and women who are patiently able to work with women who are doing the same thing, knowing that this isn't an overnight situation. This is as with all of us, a long pattern of discipleship and sanctification.
The gospel message is not,
The gospel message is not,
let the gay become straight.
let the gay get straight.
The gospel message is,
The gospel message is,
let the dead become alive.
let the dead come to life.